We've all had our fair share of bad experiences. Those experiences that you wish you could forget. The problem is, they never really go away. And sometimes they mess with your head more than you'd ever imagine. These are 10 ways a bad experience can have an effect on your intelligence. 1. Automatic negative thought patterns. When you go through a tough experience, your brain naturally tries to make sense of it. Sometimes it begins by expecting more tough times ahead. This expectation can stir up anxiety and trigger a cascade of negative thoughts. Negative thoughts tend to zero in on problems and roadblocks, while narrowing your view. They can snatch your focus from your goals and leave you tangled in self-doubt and worries. This persistent negative thinking can disrupt your learning process, cloud your judgment, and even make it tricky to tackle problems logically. You might also find yourself making snappy decisions or avoiding challenges altogether. In the end, your ability to dissect complex problems and make wise choices might take a hit. 2. Poor interpersonal skills. Bad experiences, especially those involving conflicts or feeling let down, can really strain your relationships. This is because the emotions that are triggered by these experiences can stick around for a very long time, even after the initial hurt. In reaction to these negative experiences, you might notice yourself pulling back from social situations and just keeping to yourself. This kind of isolation can shrink your world and make you miss out on different ideas and viewpoints that are essential for your personal and mental growth. Plus, it can make it harder to have good, meaningful connections with the people around you. 3. Reduced creativity. Creative people often question assumptions. They analyze situations from all sides and evaluate information critically. This critical thinking ability is important for intelligence. However, one single bad experience can be the difference between your creativity and conformity. The thing is, when you're carrying around emotional baggage from rough patches, it's like a mental drain. You end up using a lot of your brain power just to handle those feelings, and that doesn't leave much juice for creative thoughts and problem solving. To top it off, being creative often requires you to be pretty sure of yourself and think your ideas are worth something. But when self-doubt from bad experiences starts creeping in, it can hinder your creative exploration. 4. Cognitive biases. Life can have a surreal way of throwing a series of curveballs at you. When it does, it can affect the way you think and make decisions. This often leads to various cognitive biases, which can in turn have tremendous effects on your intelligence. Cognitive biases can limit your ability to make rational choices, as they make you favor irrational beliefs over evidence, even when it's crystal clear in front of you. These biases can also create barriers to problem solving, particularly when you are expecting the worst in every situation. They narrow your perspective by making you focus too much on the emotions that come with bad experiences. This emotional reasoning can dominate your decision-making process and make you closed-minded to new ideas and perspectives. 5. Reduced resilience. When you encounter traumatic experiences, your resilience, which is your ability to recover and adapt to adversity, can take a significant hit. This diminished resilience can have profound effects on your intelligence and cognitive functioning. One way this manifests is through emotional overload. Intense negative experiences can leave you emotionally drained, which makes it challenging to think clearly and make reasoned decisions. Emotional distress can cloud your judgment and limit your ability to engage in thoughtful intellectual pursuits. Bad experiences can also lead to rumination and obsession. You may find it hard to move past a traumatic event while replaying it in your mind obsessively. This persistent focus on the past can hinder you from getting back on your feet because it keeps you anchored to the negative experiences. This makes it difficult to adapt to new challenges and intellectual pursuits. Another consequence of reduced resilience is a fear of future failure. When you face significant setbacks, you may find yourself avoiding situations where you might fail again. This fear can act as a barrier to taking on new challenges and pursuing opportunities for growth. 6. Difficulty in making decisions. Decision-making is a fundamental cognitive process that influences various aspects of our lives, from simple daily choices to complex problem-solving. But when you go through traumatic or highly devastating experiences, it can take a toll on your ability to make sound decisions and even affect your intelligence in several ways. For starters, bad experiences often result in emotional overload, and when you're overwhelmed by intense emotions such as fear, anger, or sadness, it becomes challenging to think rationally and make decisions based on logic and evidence. Your judgment can become clouded by these strong emotions, which can hinder your ability to make intelligent choices. In some cases, you may even develop a pattern of decision avoidance. This means you might delay or avoid making choices altogether, out of the fear that you might make a wrong decision. When you're stuck in indecision or swayed by emotions, it can cripple your problem-solving skills, which are essential for intelligence. 7. Obsession. Obsession is like a mental quicksand that can pull your thoughts deeper into bad experiences. When you find yourself constantly mulling over negative events or trauma, it can significantly impact your intellectual functioning. One of the key ways this happens is by feeding your mental energy. Think of your mind as a battery. Overthinking and obsession drain that battery and leave you with less cognitive stamina to engage in any sort of intellectual pursuits. It becomes impossible to concentrate, focus, and think critically when your mental energy is continually diverted toward these repetitive and distressing thoughts. You might also find it difficult to engage with complex intellectual tasks when your thoughts are persistently trapped in this cycle. It's like having a mental fog that blocks your thinking and problem-solving abilities, which are fundamental to intelligence. 8. Loss of motivation. Motivation is the driving force behind learning, personal growth, and intellectual development. So when people go through traumatic experiences or face significant setbacks, it can have a profound impact on their motivation. Traumatic experiences can lead to a loss of motivation for setting and working towards intellectual objectives. If you find yourself in this situation, you may struggle to establish clear goals. This could have a negative effect on your progress and development. Some individuals who have experienced trauma may also develop apathy and disengagement from life in general, including areas that require mental capacity. It can also lead to a lack of interest, emotional exhaustion, apathy, reduced goal pursuit, self-doubt, avoidance behavior, and even stagnation of cognitive abilities. 9. Reduced focus. Bad experiences often lead to what psychologists call attentional drift. This happens when your mind continuously wanders away from reality and becomes preoccupied with the distressing thoughts or memories associated with a bad experience. This drift can make it extremely challenging to maintain focus on anything. The emotions and thoughts that come with bad experiences can also be very pushy. They barge in when you're least expecting them, like an unwanted guest who won't leave the party. For instance, you may be reading a book or working on a project, and suddenly, your mind takes a detour back to those painful memories or worries. The emotional exhaustion that comes from these thoughts feels like carrying a heavy backpack all the time. It drains your energy and leaves you feeling mentally wasted. It's like trying to run a race with weights on your ankles. As a result, your work or studies become slower and less efficient. Learning feels like finding your way out of a maze instead of riding a smooth road. It completely wrecks you to the ground, both physically and mentally. 10. Forgetfulness and difficulty remembering. You'd agree with me that your memory is an important component of your intelligence, as it determines your ability to learn, retain information, and apply it effectively. You can think of your memory as a library of knowledge and experiences. When you face stress or traumas from bad experiences, it's like a sudden earthquake shaking the library's foundation. This disturbance wreaks havoc on your memory and makes it difficult for your brain to organize and store new information effectively. The stress and trauma from bad experiences can also result in selective memory. Your brain becomes somewhat biased and prioritizes traumatic memories. In turn, this imbalance affects your ability to recall non-emotional or academic information effectively, impacting your overall cognitive functioning. If you ever find yourself stuck in any of these loops, remember that these effects are not permanent. And with time, support, and healthy coping strategies, you can break out of the shackles of the trauma that comes with difficult experiences. If you found value in this video, kindly show your support by giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to the Mindscope channel. Additionally, consider sharing this video with anyone you believe could find the content beneficial. You never know, the information we've shared might be just what someone needs to hear.